Hey, JK here. I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is here. We are getting to the playoffs in some of the leagues. There are a few that still have 1 week left of the regular season, so we have to endure that. But it's all good because we are in the playoffs in other leagues, and I'm excited. But, that meant leading up to this week, there was some tension, there was some excitement, there were a lot of feelings, including some frustration. So we will get to that. But first, we're going to talk about the Cheese Weasels. That's my Roto League. It just goes year round. There's no playoffs. There's no breaking like that. So we are in third place with 118.5 points. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you, do not count me out. We still have a lot of time. We had to make some big drops, had to make some big ads, had to make sure we made the right moves and must continue to make the right moves. We absolutely did. This week, we had a lot of help from Mr. Yordan Alvarez, who had 5 home runs. However, a majority of those were just solo shots, so that's no good. We also had 2 home runs each from Tyler O'Neill and Eugenio Suarez, and then 1 home run each from Trey Turner, Jonathan India, and Jake Cronenworth. We also had great pitching performances from Aaron Nola, who had 1 win and 16 strikeouts, and then Kyle Finnegan and Kirby Yates both had 2 saves for me. Now, instead of getting to the players that didn't do well for me, let's get and talk about what I missed. Now, what do you mean what I missed? When I benched certain guys like Yandy Diaz, I missed 2 home runs. I also benched Bryson Stott and missed a home run, 4 walks, 3 stolen bases, obviously some runs. Like, what are you doing? But the most frustrating, God bless America, the most frustrating, Masyn Winn. I benched him a few games because I have Trey Turner and Bryson Stott, and I have some decent guys who can play second and short and infield, so on and so forth. So I missed 7 hits. Yep, 7 hits. Let's see. I missed 4 runs scored. I missed a home run, and obviously some walks and so on and so forth. So I put him in. I'm like, okay, dude, you've done so good. Let me put you in. You 0 for 4. I can't win for losing, man. Now we're going to move to the ads and drops. Lots of pitchers because still pitching categories need to win. We also still have a lot of hitting categories, but that will come in time, hopefully. The non-pitchers did include Jhonkensy Noel and Freddie Fermin. Fermin has been huge for my other fantasy teams. Don't know why it took me so long to get him here, but we finally do have him, so that's good. Now the pitching in this league, for the ads at least, Andrew Heaney, Nick Pivetta, Colin Ray, Sean Manaea, and Kiter Montero. The drops in this league did include a lot of those same pitchers, but some of the non-pitchers did include Tyler Stevenson and Jhonkensy Noel. The pitching drops did include Andrew Heaney, Frankie Montas, who I had last week, Colin Ray, Sean Manaea, Kiter Montero, and Nick Pivetta. So again, 118.5 points, moving in the right direction, still have lots of time, so let's get back to first. Now we're going to talk about the Kent Murphy Dingers. Now, as I told you a few weeks ago, we are officially out of contention, and honestly probably have been here for a little bit. Now, I still was hoping for just a small glimmer of hope, and when I crunched the numbers, we were going to come up half a game short. Keep that in mind. But we're still playing. We're still doing our best. Again, we want to play spoiler. So this past week, we did not. We lost 3 categories to 7 categories, but it did take the guy up until Saturday to finally come into some lead. So again, I'm great during the week, and it's the weekend that kills me. But still, it was a higher ranked team. It took him way too long to overtake me and actually get the win. So I really feel like I have the best, worst team in the league. Like, it's so frustrating to say. It's what you said about, like, the Athletics. That's what you said about the Lions, a few years ago. So that's how I feel. But we do still have a lot of guys performing for us. Let's read those stats. Big time performances from Matt Olson. 3 home runs, 11 RBIs, and 9 runs scored. Riley Green, 2 home runs, only 3 RBIs. Let's get some guys on base, man. Come on. We had single home runs from Realmuto Springer, Masyn Winn, and Royce Lewis. I tell you one thing, man. Royce Lewis had been in a long homer streak or homerless streak. So finally, he hit one for me, so very happy about that. We had 2 saves each from Mason Miller, Ryan Walker, and Kirby Yates, and 3 from Jason Foley. Holy cow, the Lions are coming back to life. Not the Lions, the Tigers. The Bears? Ha ha! No, the Tigers, obviously. Now for the guys that didn't do well for me. Again, we're going to talk a little bit about what we missed. So Junior Caminero is on our team, and we missed a home run and 3 RBIs. I lost by 1 RBI, or that category, so that's super frustrating. Remember that too, an RBI. We also have had bad starts overall. This week, we were just trying to chase strikeouts, and obviously that didn't work for us. We had terrible starts from Mitch Keller, who was an ad, Logan Webb, and also Keider Montero. Keider Montero wasn't terrible; it was only 3.6, but point is, it wasn't as good a start as I wanted. Also, Tyler Fitzgerald, I know he's not a pitcher, but Tyler Fitzgerald has been super cold at the plate as of late. No stolen bases this past weekend. I think he had 1 run and 1 RBI as a counting stat. Not doing it for me, man. So as we alluded to before, we were chasing a lot of pitching stats, strikeouts, wins, so on and so forth. But fun fact, we only had 2 wins out of 9 starts, so that kind of stinks. But as we move to the adds and drops, you will see how the adds and drops do reflect our need and want for pitching. The adds include Andrew Heaney, Joey Estes, Mitch Spence, Mitch Keller, also Albert Suarez, and Keider Montero. And in correspondence, the drops did include Craig Kimbrell. That hurt my heart. That really hurt my heart to drop him because I've always been a kind of like a fanboy of Craig Kimbrell, and he's just losing it, man. Also dropped Jorge Lopez because I needed to pick somebody else up. But then the other guys we dropped were also pitchers: Joey Estes, Keider Montero, Albert Suarez, and Andrew Heaney. This has been the worst fantasy baseball performance I've ever put on. And it's frustrating. It is so incredibly frustrating. But it is what it is, man. We're going to be looking to maybe add a few guys. There were a few people who were dropped, like big names that were dropped in free agency. I was trying my hardest to get Mike Trout from this guy for like the past year or two, and he wouldn't budge, and he kept wanting too much. Tried to get a few other guys. Christian Yelich. I also have seen, there was another big name guy dropped recently. So I'll be trying to get those guys a free agency, but that really actually does make me mad about Mike Trout, because I was willing to give the guy a good bunch of guys, a good lot. Obviously there were other guys included, not just Trout for my collective group of players. But in any case, kind of frustrated me. I can't remember who he dropped him for. But point is, going to try to be looking for some keepers for late rounds or early rounds, or just trying to see if I can get some guys who I might be able to use as trade bait in the offseason. While we might be looking at the offseason for the Kent Murphy Dingers, we are not looking at the offseason yet for the Funky Junky Joker Monkeys, as we did come up with a win in the last week of the regular season, 509 to 418. Honestly, that was a little bit closer than I wanted it to be, because the guy had like 2 or 3 pitchers to end the year, and I was like, holy crap, what if he has a really good week? But he didn't, obviously won. Some of the big name guys that helped us, holy cow, surprising names. Bryce Miller had 40 points. Okay, he's done pretty decent. JJ Bleday with 33, Lourdes Gurriel with 31, and Salvador Perez with 30. Holy cow. When was the last time you saw JJ Bleday up there? You haven't. Now, Salvi, he's been up there a time or two. Lourdes, I think he may have been up there, but I don't think I've ever seen JJ Bleday up there, so that was crazy. As far as the guys who didn't do well for me, nothing really crazy. Brian Wu, Cutter Crawford both got me 10 points, and Carlos Santana, who's a bench guy, got me 7 points. So, again, not really bad, just not as much as I would have liked. And that was my team not doing well. So 509 points off of not doing well, I'll take that any week. Guys and drops for this week were pretty short. We added Brian De La Cruz because he was doing decently after the trade from the Marlins to the Pirates, and then has not had a hit for a while now. He had a home run for me last week, but that's about it. We also added Tyler Alexander because he was a bulk pitcher. Brian Abreu because he was doing pretty well in relief for the Asterix. And then Caden Dana, the prospect for the Angels, called him up, and he did pretty well for me, you know? The drops include Valente Bozo, Carlos Estevez, Brian Abreu, and Tyler Alexander. So this week, we ended as the 4th overall seed because, now keep this in mind as well, number 1 team from the other division got a higher seed than us, even though we had a better record. So that bumped us from third, because we're third overall best, and the other team is like fifth best, but whatever. So we're fourth seed, so we are playing, I believe it's a fifth seed. So fifth seed, they're pretty good. Actually, we played them, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Overall, we are 2-0 against them. Week, I think 10 earlier in the season, we beat them by about 40. A few weeks ago, we beat them by about 80. So I'm not going to say it's a walk in the park. It's not, because they have definitely made some moves, and obviously we've made some moves as well. So we're going to be needing to be on our A game. Obviously, it's the playoffs. We have to be on our A game. So hopefully there'll be an update next week, because it is only a 1 week period. So fingers crossed we come out on top and get to continue our playoff streak. Now we're going to talk about the Russell My Jim Jams team, which, similar to the Camp Murphy Dingers, we still have a week left in the regular season, and also very similar to the Camp Murphy Dingers, there's no way we're making the playoffs, which is frustrating. However, last week we won against a team that was actually in the playoffs. This week we won against a team that had no chance of making the playoffs, but a win is a win, and we did end up winning 11 categories to 3 categories to 2 categories. With this huge win and help in our overall stats, for the year, even though it doesn't really matter because we're not making the playoffs, we did have these contributions. Lawrence Butler, huge. He had 4 home runs, 7 extra base hits, 6 RBIs, and 6 runs scored. So that means to tell me he didn't have a whole lot of guys on base. There were not many guys getting on base ahead of him. We definitely need to work on that. Taylor Ward, 2 home runs, 5 extra base hits, 3 RBIs. Again, not getting enough guys on base. Also, Lourdes Gurriel, 2 home runs, 4 extra base hits, and 4 RBIs. Bryson Stott had 5 walks. Yandy Diaz, Tyler O'Neill had 2 home runs each for me. We also had some pretty good pitching performances. Cade Smith had 2 for me, and Clay Holmes and Ben Joyce both had 2 saves for me. So, saves, holds, taken care of. What we didn't take care of was wins. We lost the category because we only had 1 win. Opposing person had 2 wins. They also only had 13 innings pitched. CJ Abrams, dude, you have been so cold. Your batting average is .091. You had no counting stats. 1 hit, man. Come on. And then overall, just bad pitching, bad relief. Cal Quantrill, Tyler Alexander, Kiter Montero, and then Bryce Miller. Come on, man. I did not expect that from you. Now, the adds and drops were a pretty substantial list. Again, trying to win as many categories as possible, so we were chasing lots of categories. The adds did include David Peterson, Cal Quantrill, Tyler Alexander, Andrew Haney, Kiter Montero, Lawrence Butler, and Joe Jimenez. I know it's Jimenez. Drops included Valente Bozo, Cal Quantrill, Jesse Winker, Jack Leiter, Andrew Haney, and Kiter Montero. So, again, chasing pitching. I don't know why I was chasing pitching. They only had 4 guys who even pitched it all for them. I think it's because I was pitching to get wins and couldn't even get another win. We had 1 win in all those starts. So very frustrating. But I want to bring your attention to this trade. Now, one guy obviously trading away a lot of prospects. Roman Harper has not sniffed the big leagues. Caglione, sounds like a name from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, has not sniffed the big leagues. Dylan Cruz obviously doing big things, caught up recently. He's a probable star moving forward. Now, again, with the Nationals, who knows what they're going to do with their stars. But look at what he gave away, or what the trade was. Pete Alonso, Ryan Helsley, Brent Rooker. That seems lopsided. Very lopsided. I don't like that. I'm probably going to... I might say something. I don't know. You let me know what you think. Do you think this is a fair trade? I personally do not. So I sent a trade offer to the same guy, and he very quickly declined. I wonder why. Because I sent something that was pretty lopsided too, because this is ridiculous. But again, let me know what you think of it. I don't know, man. I don't like it because La Fama Blanca is in the playoffs. Fighting Phils, the guy I beat this week. So, I don't know. What do you think about this? This is supposed to be a dynasty league. So they're going to have these guys long term, theoretically. But yeah, this guy, he's in the playoffs. La Fama Blanca is. So I don't like that. Seems cheap, seems real crummy to me. But again, let me know what you think. So from a sour note to a sweet note, we will move to the Peach Creek Purgatory team, where we clinched their playoffs this week with a win of 1,131 to 821. Definitely happy with the results there. So as a 3 seed, I will play the 2 seed. So this is going to be tough because this guy, he's got some players. He's got some good players. It is a 2-week long period. So as I record this on Wednesday, he had 7 of his 24 pitchers going and has used, I think, 10 of his 24 pitchers already in these first 3 days. So he's got a decent lead on me. However, what I'm thinking about doing is trying to temper my expectations for this first week and just throw every single pitcher I can at him for that second week. Because if he uses all of his, I will know exactly what I need to do. He will be the one that just has to rely on his players. Now, he's got some good players. And of course, they wait till this week. Schwarber, Soto, Teoscar Hernandez. Of course, they want to wake up these first 3 days. I mean, Schwarber hit 3 home runs last night and hit another home run today. Like, really, like now is when you want to wake up. Now. But in any case, we're going to take it in stride. I do feel good. I think we've played before and I only lost by, I want to say like 40. I think we'll come out on top. Again, just have to be smart with the pitching. Have to make sure that we are getting some of our guys back. Ketel Marte may come back. Christian Walker was taken off the IL yesterday. However, Justin Steele and Corey Seager won the IL today and or yesterday. So that's not good. That is not good at all. We definitely need to have some of these playmakers back. But before we keep jumping to next week, let's talk about the guys who did well for me this week. Matt Olson had me 89 points. That was awesome for me. So we will continue to hope that he does well for me. Brent Rooker had 75 and Taylor Ward had 60. Now the guys that did poorly for me really didn't do too bad. Andrew Haney got me 13 and Miles Mikolas got me 12. So again, good, decent outings. We didn't need them that much because we won by like, 200-300. So that's good, but definitely going to need, 24s and 26s instead of 12s and 13s this week. But let's go into the adds and drops. Very short this week. We added Michael Massey, who, if you don't know who he is, second baseman for the Royals. Quietly having a decent season, hitting in the 270s. The other add being Miles Mikolas did decent enough for us. He kind of unraveled, I think, in the 5th inning and let up like another 4 or 5 runs, so that wasn't good. But then the drop was Michael Massey because we did have to take someone off the IL. So that was good news, actually, very good news. And the last thing we're going to talk about, the South Harmon Institute of Technology. Now, I have to set the scene for you because you will not be able to fully understand this until I do, again, like set the scene. So I am in the East Division. We have West Division. The playoffs take the top 4. So 1 from each, so number 1 from East and West, and then the best 2 remaining teams. Now, West Division, they're not the best. They don't have a lot of good teams. And by that, I mean their records are not as good as the East records. The top 4, including myself, all have better records than everyone in the West. So there's going to be someone that's going to be screwed out of a spot. So playoffs include top East, top West. So there are 3 teams in the West fighting for that last duo of spots, those last couple of spots. So I had a 1.5 game lead on 3rd place and a 4.5 game lead on 4th place. And I was playing the number 2 team in the West this week. I played the number 1 team in the West last week and I won. And I won this week as well. 9 categories to 7 categories to 2 categories. Keep that in mind. So as long as I scored enough more than those other 2 teams, I was going to playoffs. And it came down to Sunday Night Baseball. I had Matt Olson and Carlos Estevez. And I was tied in 3 categories. And I was behind in another 2 categories. So I could have won some more categories or tied some more categories and increased my chances, increased my wins, increased my winning percentage. So ideally, I would have gotten an RBI from Matt Olson and a win or a save from, or a hold, from Carlos Estevez. And if you're watching, that's exactly what happened. I got a win from Carlos Estevez. He was pitching, and it went to the bottom of the, I believe, the 11th. And Nick Castellanos hit a shot right back up the middle, brought, I forget who it was around the score, but Phillies won, and I was going to the playoffs. Or so I thought. So I was crunching the numbers. I had miscalculated one of the other teams. For some odd reason, I did not calculate 77 properly because I was looking at 74, which is what the team had, the number of ties the team had prior to this week. They had 3 ties again this past week, so it would have brought them to 77, but I calculated 74. So I calculated that they had several less wins than they actually did. Wins. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to the playoffs. Woo! I was so happy. I was holding my babies, and I looked at my wife was like, wow, yeah, we're going to the playoffs. And I'm, trying not to wake the kids up. I was so excited. One of them woke up, I hugged him, and he smiled at me. He's like, Daddy. I'm like, yeah, we're going to the playoffs. So I got out of bed, and I'm like, oh, let me double check, because, we always have to double check. And, so the team that I was 1.5 games up on ended up winning 2 more games than me. So I was like, oh, okay, crap. So, but I was 4.5 games up on this other guy. I got this, right? I got this. He won 5 games. I missed out on playoffs by half a game. One more win, or one more tie, or one less loss, like whatever, however you want to look at it. Those games or those weeks where I tied in RBIs, or where I lost by 1 run, or lost, the category by 1 save or something like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. I'm still doing decent. Blah blah blah. It came down to needing 1 more RBI, 1 more win, 1 more save or hold. They're combined categories. I got the win, but I needed the RBI. But I do want to talk about the guys who did well for me. Matt Olson, he had 25 total bases, 3 home runs, scored 9 runs, and had 11 RBIs. Brent Rooker, 20 total bases, 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, and 4 walks. We also had at least 15 total bases, 2 home runs, and 3 RBIs, along with 5 runs scored by each of the following guys: J.J. Bleday, Taylor Ward, and Francisco Lindor. So, very, very happy with their production. They were doing everything I needed them to do. And it just came up short. Lots of pitching. Lots of guys did well for me. What really hurt my ERA and my whip, I had Bailey Ober, who gave up 9 earned runs to the Braves. I had Zebby Matthews, who gave up 9 earned runs as well. Not quality start earned runs. They gave up too many. So obviously that came back to bite me. I'd calculated it, and had I not started them, which I've said it before, you start your studs, and it came back to bite me. I ended up, I could have gotten it down to like a 2.9. That still wouldn't have been enough, but whether you lose by 3 ERA or 0.3 ERA, it still stings. But in any case, the adds and drops, just lots of pitching. So you can see that on either side of me. I think at this point in time, just talking about how close we were. But the frustrating thing was I was playing a team that was fighting for a playoff spot. Now, this isn't me being bitter. This is just me looking back and like, ugh. The other 2 guys, the guy in 3rd and the guy in 4th, they were playing against cellar dwellers, like teams that did not check their lineups for a month or two. Like, they have not moved anyone. So that's super frustrating to me, because I was actually having to play. I had to do stuff. I had to manipulate my lineups well enough to win. And I did. I won. But this is another situation very similar. In this league last year, I made it to the playoffs. I made it to the championship game, and we tied. And the tie went to the higher seed. I was number 2. Obviously, I was playing number 1. I say obviously. I was playing number 1 as number 2 seed, so I lost. And this year, again, I won. I did what I was supposed to do, but just didn't win enough. But in any case, very happy overall with how this team did this year. Definitely wish I could have made a few different moves here and there. Been a little smarter, especially with my pitching. I feel like that's really what let me down, my pitching. Because I needed more stats and lost more stats pitching-wise than I did hitting-wise. Francisco Lindor has absolutely been a firecracker for me the last few weeks since moving up to the leadoff spot for the Mets, the Metropolitans. So, yeah, man, it's rough. That was a rough night, man. Sunday night, luckily we didn't have work Monday because I was crying. No, I wasn't crying. It was annoying though. I think I ended up trying to play a game or something, and that wasn't happening. But in any case, we do have what we have: Peachtree Purgatory. We have Funky Junky Joker Monkeys, and obviously we still do have the Cheese Weasels playing. Kent Murphy Dingers has 1 week left. South Harmon Institute Technology technically has games left. Another regular season for Russell My Gym Jam. So we do have some time left in baseball. But with football starting up, it's definitely going to be a mixture. Obviously, the first few weeks of football are going to take a backseat to baseball because we got to win the ship, baby, right? So again, good luck in every upcoming game you have and the matchups, and make sure you make the right starts. Start your studs, unless they're gonna give up 9 earned runs. But in any case, thank you. We are looking forward to bringing home a ship for you in the next week or 2 or 3 or however many weeks we have left. So this is J-Cake, and I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me.